guys, it's Sekaar, and today I wanted to go over my Magical Warden build for update 40. I have been enjoying this build so much. This thing does so much damage. I've been called a cheater so many times on this build already, and I just absolutely love how hard it's hitting. The healing's pretty nice too. You feel it a little bit struggling at times with that, but overall it feels really solid, and this is definitely my favorite MagDen build that I've had yet. The tankiness, same thing, super solid, but you know, once you get to a certain amount of outnumbered, I mean, there's only so much you could do, am I right? So my opinion, the best way to play this build is in a 2vx, but overall I think that the build is really solid and I really do recommend playing it. One last announcement real quick is I've started up an Instagram for my stream lately, and I've been trying to get on top of that. So if you guys want to throw me a follow real quick on Instagram, I'd highly appreciate it. It is just Sekaar TV. The link will be in the description as well. I'm trying to get to 100 followers by the end of the year, and right now we're at like 75 or something like that. So if you guys want to go and follow me over there and you have an Instagram, I would highly appreciate that. So thank you so much. All right, so without further ado, let's get on with the build. Let's look at our character sheet first. Oh no, that's not a character sheet. We're gonna be a Breton on our Warden. I really like Breton. I feel like the overall reduced cost on magic abilities is really solid for your overall sustain, and I just really think it's best in slot for MagDen. If you don't have Breton, I think that Khajiit would work pretty well, or Dark Elf, something like that. Something that's going to give you some resources back. So I like that. I like those options. Our attributes are going to be 4 points into magic and then 60 points into health to give us a max magic pool of 19.1k, a max health pool of 33.6k, and a max stamina pool of 15.3k. Our Mundus is going to be the warrior to increase our weapon damage as much as possible. We're also going to be using Jewels of Mizrael as our food to increase our stam and magic recovery as well as our max health. And also on top of that, Vampire Stage 3 is going to increase our tankiness with that Undeath passive. The less health we have, the less damage we take. So it's awesome. Moving on to our gear, our first 5-piece set is going to be Draugr. That's going to be on our body at all times. I know what you guys are thinking. This is the first time I've ever put Draugr on my body at all times, and with that reduced healing by 10%, a lot of people are like, oh, that's going to be rough. But honestly, it was nowhere near as bad as I thought, and I really don't feel that debuff at all. But that's also what the reason why we're really using Draugr is for that increased damage done by 330. So that's not an increased 330 weapon spell damage. That's a flat 330 damage. So if you hit somebody for 1,000 damage, this now gonna buff that to 1,330 damage. So you can see how that goes with all your damage abilities, and then you can see how that is just gonna increase your overall damage a lot. Draugr, in my opinion, is best in slot for this. So overall, our other set is going to be Wretched Vitality. We're going to be using a heavy Wretched Vitality helmet in Reinforced. This is going to be our back bar set, and this is going to increase our recovery by a lot. So while in combat, applying a major buff or debuff to a target is going to grant you 260 magic and stem recovery, and the same thing for a minor buff or debuff for 130 magic stem recovery. So that's about 400 extra recovery at all times for both magic and stam. So that's insane for your recovery, and it's just really good. It's really one of my favorite sets in the game for a reason. You just can sustain for so long because of it, and you can just build into so much damage after that. So a heavy reinforced helmet, a heavy reinforced chest piece of Wretched Vitality as well. We're going to have a 1-piece monster set on this. We have 1-piece Falcon Scoria. We're going to be using medium Divines. The reason why we're using Scoria is because it's going to give us an extra line of offensive penetration. And honestly, I just like using Pen on this build. It really cuts through people's defenses a lot. We're also going to be using light Draugr hands in Impen as well. I know I already showed this. I already showed the sash, but I'm just gonna show it one more time. Light Draugr sash in Impen, and then light Draugr shoes in Divines. We're also gonna be using heavy Wretched Vitality legs in Reinforced as well. Our jewelry is going to be Draugr. We're going to be using a Draugr necklace and ring, as you can see, both infused with weapon and spell damage enchantments on it. And then also, we're going to be using Death Dealers for our mythic infused weapon and spell damage enchantment on it. So Death Dealers, basically, when you just break it down real quick, is when you get to 30 stacks while you're in combat, you get a stack every 2 seconds. You're going to be getting up to about 2,800 extra magic stam and health. So that's going to really increase your overall tankiness and just your overall buffs, just buff self. It's going to give you more health, more stam, more magic, and who doesn't love that? Especially as a warden, you want as much health as possible because some of your heals are based off of that. Then our front bar is going to be the Asylum's Ice Staff in a sharpened trait with a disease enchantment on it. So I wasn't sure about what to use as my enchantment, so I really liked disease so far, and I just like that overall. And Asylum, basically what that does is every second cast of Force Shock will always apply the burning, concussion, and chilled status effects, and you have to apply that between 5 seconds of each other. So that's really cool for your overall damage. Just putting those status effects on enemies is massive, and that increases your overall damage so much. Plus, with having Draugr on this, the extra damage is, I've never seen anything like that. It's so cool. It's so dope. And I don't have the perfected line, unfortunately. I want to do that eventually, but I really don't think it's too big of a deal. I think it's just an extra little bit of weapon and spell damage. Eventually I'll get it, but right now I don't have it. If you do have it, cool, good for you. That's awesome. A little bit extra damage, but if you don't have the perfected one, it's really not the biggest deal in the world. Then back bar, Ice Staff of Retro Vitality, defending trait with an increased weapon and spell damage enchantment on it. Moving on to our skills, our main spammable is going to be Force Pulse. I like this morph better because it can also go to other enemies as well. So if they have a status effect on them as well. So, you know, that's just really cool for your damage, your little AoE damage. It's cool. Plus on top of that, you see how much Flame Shock and Frost damage it does on there. Increase every single one of those procs by 330 because of our Draugr, and that damage is going through the roof. I love it. Also, Bird of Prey, this is going to be a lot of abilities in one. This is going to be your source of major expeditions, so it's going to increase your movement speed by 30%. You're also going to get snare removal and immobilizations, so that's going to be giving you a little snare immunity for 4 seconds, so that's awesome. Then on top of that, you also get Minor Berserk, so it's going to increase your damage done by 5%, and who doesn't love some Minor Berserk? Increases your overall damage. We're also going to be using Blue Betty. This is going to be your source of major brutality and sorcery, so this is going to increase your weapon and spell damage by 20%. Also, it's going to remove 1 negative effect off you every 5 seconds. So if you're taking a little bit of damage, you already have all of your heals on there. If you spam Blue Betty, you're just going to get a negative effect off you every time you hit that ability. So if you just have that time, spam it. Why not? Take those abilities off of you, and it's a great little way to just take all the pressure off you as well. And then Deep Fissure, this is going to be your burst damage. You kind of want to line this up with another ability, whether it's Dawnbreaker. I mean, Dawnbreaker is going to be a great way to line that up with that, Dawnbreaker, and then Force Balls. But also on top of that, it's going to apply major and minor breach to your enemy. So it's going to reduce their physical and spell resistance by about 9k. So that is huge. You're going to be just cutting through them so much after you hit them with this. So that's awesome for your overall damage. And the burst damage on this is really nice. It does a lot of pressure. Also, I like Fetcher Infection a lot as well. It's a nice little dot to put on your enemies. Also, that's going to apply minor vulnerability to them, so it's going to increase their damage taken by 5%. And also, just in general, them taking dot pressure is really huge damage because every single tick of their dot is going to increase the damage by 330 because of Draugr. So it's awesome. Helps your overall damage so much, and I just really like this. This is my favorite ability that I've been able to combo with everything. I just really like it a lot. And then Dawnbreaker, this is the ultimate that I've been using the most between the two that we have here, and I just think it's really solid to line up. It's been hitting so hard on my enemies, and I really like it. Also, on top of that, that dot pressure afterwards is insane because of Draugr. So, you know, the damage on this is really just overall nuts. I love it. And I know I've said that 1,000 times, but yeah, you know. Also, Polar Wind, this is going to be your burst heal, so try and get all your heals over time up and then be hitting this to get your health back up, because this is just going to shoot your health right back to full, and overall, it's a great heal to have. Also, Lotus Blossom, this is going to be your source of major prophecy and savagery, increasing your weapon spell critical by 2,600. Also, on top of that, every time you light attack, you're going to restore about 1,800 health as well, so don't forget the light attack on this. It's going to really help your overall healing. And then Resolving Vigor, this is going to be your nice 5-second heal over time. It's going to help you get right back up to full health. On top of that, you're going to get Minor Resolve, increasing your physical and spell resistance by 3k for 20 seconds. So overall, make sure this is up at all times. Make sure that Minor Resolve is up at all times as well. And then Leeching Vines, this is a nice heal over time as well to combo with Resolving Vigor. You're gonna get minor lifesteal, so that's gonna take health from your enemies whenever you get damage taken. So make sure that you have this on you at all times. This is going to be healing you so much. Please do not sleep on this ability. I love it so much, and the healing from this is nuts. Combo this with Resolving Vigor, you're healing so much. You don't really have to rely on pull or win that much in like a 1v1 situation. Also, Ice Fortress, this is going to be your source of major resolve, so it's going to increase your physical and spell resistance by 6k for 30 seconds. Also, you get minor protection, reducing your damage taken by 5% for 30 seconds. As well as that, keep in mind, this is going to proc both conditions of your Wretched Vitality as well, because this is a major resolve buff and a minor protection buff. So that'll proc both conditions, so just make sure you apply this every few seconds, or every 15 seconds minimum if you need to, because that will give you a bunch of extra recovery for that. Also, Northern Storm. So it's tough to use this ability sometimes because Dawnbreakers are only CC on this build, but if you have another friend that you're playing with and you want to do a nice little bit of AoE pressure, this is great for that, because this is going to be a solid amount of pressure to put on your AoE. And then on top of that, you're going to increase your weapon and spell damage by 300 for 30 seconds. That's also going to go to your friendlies as well, I believe. No, I'm sorry, just you. I apologize, I was wrong about that. On top of that, you do get major protection though, so that's going to reduce your damage taken and your allies taken damage taken by 10% as well. So that increases your tankiness a lot. Major protection is nothing to sleep on. That is great tankiness. And then finally, our champion points, our blue slottables are going to be Focus Mending, Master at Arms, Untamed Aggression, and Ironclad. Our red slottables are going to be Sustained by Suffering, Survival Instincts, Pain's Refuge, and Celerity. And our green tree, the only things we really care about as always are Breakfall, Rationer, and Liquid Efficiency. And also, we're going to be using tripods on this build. Tripods are just the best way to increase your overall resource management and sustain. And that is the entire build, you guys. I really hope that you enjoy. Let me know what you guys think of it in the comments below. I always appreciate any kind of likes on the video and any kind of comments on the videos. It helps my overall engagement with YouTube a lot, and it's just really helpful as well. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Let's get on with the footage for this build. I know I've talked your guys' ear off so much, and I will see you guys on the next video. Later.